Howdy, folks. Grey Hawk 4x4 coming at you again, your resident vintage gamer. How's your Thursday night going? For some reason, it feels to me like it's darker than usual on me here. Like the light's not as good. Not sure what's going on there. Anyway, hope everyone's doing well. Been a little bit of a crazy day today. My speakers went. My PC speakers, which by the way I had for at least 25 years. I was using the same pair of PC speakers, subwoofer, the whole bit, for like 25 years. They finally died on me, so had to run out to Best Buy to get new speakers today. So I do that. Then I get ready to do this live. And as I always do, I do a sound check first, just to make sure everything's doing all right. So you have to let me know how if anything sounds weird, because, hey Chupa, because when I did the sound check, my microphone was all fucked up. And I think it was from me having to configure the speakers, and somehow it did something to the whole sound system. I don't know what the hell it was. Because it sounded like I was in a bathtub in a tunnel. Excellent. Well, yeah, that's why I'm starting at 7 later than my normal time, because I had to troubleshoot all of that, and I had to go in and go to the equalizer and do all that shit, and I finally got it to where it sounded normal. But it took me a while. So I never thought that putting new speakers on could screw up the microphone. I just figured they were independent. But you know, computers, right? We've been having personal computers. I've had personal computers for 40 years. Let's see, I'm 55, 15, no, even a little bit longer than that. And in all that time, in the 40 years I've been using them, they still have not figured out how to truly make printers, like a home printer, be 100% reliable. Like, I have a printer here, the HP, that I bought not that long ago. And for whatever reason, it just didn't want to grab the paper, like to feed paper, the rollers or whatever. If it was an old printer, I'd say, well, the rollers go out, or whatever. No, this isn't an old printer. So I have to manually, as I can hear the rollers start, I have to push the paper and till it grabs it. Every sheet, I have to do that. Now, when I bought this printer, it was like $50. Brand new. You could go to Walmart or whatever, and you could get a printer for a color printer, $50. Scanner, the whole bit. Scanner, printer, the whole bit. Those days are gone, because now, when I was at Best Buy, I was just looking at them and I said, well, maybe I'll pick up a new printer too. You're looking at a couple $100 again now for printers again. But the whole thing with printer drivers and rollers and feeding, and the printer talking to the computer and all that, we've been fighting with that shit for 40. They can put a man on the moon. They're thinking about sending someone to Mars, and they still can't perfect the home printer for your computer. It's bizarre to me. But those are the things those are first world problems. So anyway, we have our Thursday night gaming chat, and there was an announcement today about E3. They have canceled E3 100%. There will be no E3, even virtual. There won't even be a virtual E3 this year. Which kind of threw everybody for a loop, because I think everybody was like, all the PC Gamer and Kotaku and everybody was expecting them to say, oh, it'll just be virtual this year. they canceled the whole damn thing, which I think caught everybody off guard. Um, so, uh, does that affect you guys at all? I mean, do you any of you guys out there like really look forward to E3 every year for like the new announcements for what's coming out gaming wise and all that? In years past, say, I don't know, 10 years ago maybe, it would have really bummed me out because I used to look forward to E3, and especially even if they did it virtual, I would watch it, virtually to find out about all the announcements and everything. But at some point, and I can't remember when it was, they when things started going virtual, when when they started breaking it up to where they weren't having like this massive thing in LA where they had this one big convention, and then even though they were doing some of it virtual, when they started breaking it up, and certain companies like I think was it Nintendo and a couple other ones, Sony maybe, all started doing their own version and just doing that virtual. When they started doing that, it was like, well, maybe they don't need to have this great big ass, E3 thing. It has a soft spot in my heart because I have a soft spot in my heart for it because I got to attend it twice. Before that was even before they started letting the public go to it. So, and that was an experience then. But I don't think it'll ever be like that again. So, so there won't be any E3 this year, but they're saying that there's going to be a comeback. They're planning a comeback for next year, that it'll be back to normal. Now, what the new version of normal will be, we'll have to wait and see. But what's funny is that if they go back to normal, where they have the big event in Los Angeles again, now that I'm retired, I could have gone to LA because I got a couple buddies that still live in LA, and I could have went to E3 again with one of them or both of them. But the funny part is, one of them moved out of LA, way out to the damn desert practically, and the other one is moving to Pennsylvania this year. So next year, if they have the big party again, the big event in LA, and I go there won't be. I'd just be by myself because my wife. That's not something that interests my wife. She's not a video game person, so it would just be me going out there. So that would be the ironic part, Not really, but did go to Adepticon last weekend near Chicago. 5,000 estimated attendees. Fun times. Nice. Said that was from the Mad Hermit. There, I like that handle, by the way. Mad Hermit. That's awesome. I may have to use that in my D&D campaign. The Mad Hermit as an NPC out in some haunted wood somewhere. So was Mad Hermit from B2, the B2 module? It's been so long since I read that, I don't remember. Yeah. I'll be damned. It's been so many years since so I can't use it as an NPC. It's already been used. So I can't use that. Damn. Yeah, it's keep on the Borderlands. How many years has it been since? I mean, I got the 5th edition one by, I think, is it Goodman Games that did all the new 5th edition reprints of the old Beckme stuff, and I got that one, but I didn't really read through it. So near Chicago, when you say so, Adepticon was near Chicago. Was it in what they call like Chicago land, which is like, I guess the what do you call it? The greater metropolitan area of Chicago. They call that Chicago land because I guess it spreads way out. I've been to Chicago a couple times. I'm not 100% familiar with Schaumburg Convention Center. That's got to be in the greater Chicagoland area. It's got to be, I'm guessing, right? So if that was last weekend, that must have been kind of competing with GaryCon, because GaryCon was last weekend also. So now obviously it's two different. I mean, it's all gamers, but GaryCon is tabletop role playing, and I'm guessing that Adepticon is probably video games, I'm assuming. I don't know if anybody checked out any of GaryCon, any of the live broadcasts or anything like that. I completely forgot about the fact that they would have a virtual presence, because I went to GaryCon twice, and when the 2 years I went, they didn't have, there was no virtual presence like where they had like on Twitch or anything like that. So it didn't even come to mind until after the fact. Yeah, I didn't even think about it, Chupa, until after the fact. That shit, I could have been watching some stuff like on Twitch or something of GaryCon. You know, I wish that I didn't see any tweets, because I follow Luke Gygax and a bunch of people that I know from GaryCon and everything, that, and I don't remember any tweets saying, hey, follow us on, live this time, or whatever. So yeah, because that would have made me think of to do that. So Chupa, did you watch the wedding? Satine Phoenix and her husband got married. I can't. His name escapes me right now, but they got married at GaryCon, and Luke Gygax officiated it. He was the one who married them, and they were all in costume. I saw the pictures afterwards, and they were all in costume and everything. Everybody that attended was all in costume and stuff. So, I saw that Larry Elmore is retiring. I did see some pictures that showed that he was signing autographs and all that, and he did some artwork for I think it was Giant Lands from Wonderfield. And that was like his last project before he retires. So I got to meet Larry at GaryCon twice, I think, at both years I went. He's one of the, for those that don't know, he's one of the artists, one of the old school artists from back in the day. He's one, there's like 5 that are like absolute landmark artists, at least. There's probably more than that, but there's 5, that everybody kind of really thinks about when they think of like the old Dragon magazines and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, so yeah, that I'm hoping that this COVID thing is starting to be in the rearview mirror with regard to like conventions and things getting back to normal, because now that I am retired, it opens up my schedule to go to conventions and shit like that, where before I'd have to worry about working around taking vacation time and all that other stuff. So I'm looking forward to that. So Mad Hermit says mostly tabletop mini gaming. Okay. So somebody, I can't remember who it was. Somebody left me a message about on my unboxing for the Dark Tower game, that they wanted to see more of the minis. And this one is still taped. And again, I don't know. I'm going to try to get this to focus for you guys. I'm going to try a couple different things here. See if I can get this to focus for you. But sometimes if you do some stuff like this on the hand, damn it. Yeah, this camera the autofocus absolutely sucks. And this is a brand new Logitech camera too. And it just will not focus. Oh, there we go. So this is just one out of the expansion for the what they call the Dark Horde expansion. Let's see here. Let's do it. Hey, Mistra. I'm just somebody asked for. I'm not sure which. Mister, I'm just showing off some of the people want to see the minis close up from the Dark Tower that I did the unboxing of. I'm not sure if it's a Vampire Lord or what it is. It kind of looks like a Lich to me, but here's a spider. See if that'll. So putting my hand behind it kind of helps, I think. Let's see here. Come on now. It did it on the other one. It did better on the other one. Let's do this. Let's try. Yeah, it doesn't want to. The detail is actually pretty good on these, but there we go. Well, come on now. Yeah, it's not going to come out too well. Some of them do, some of them don't. Let's see what that says about that type, what that creature was. These are called, there's several of these. These are called lemures that I showed earlier. You were asking if it was a Vampire Lord. It's a lemure, they called it. And we got it to focus before, but now it doesn't want to. But here's one of the dragons. See if that shows up any better. Come on now. You know you want to, you bastard. Yeah, it doesn't want to now. But yeah, I wish the camera would focus better, but you got stuff like stuff like this. I wish. Hey, Eddie Green. I wish that that I'd say that I have the time to paint all these, but what I might do is my group and I have talked about sometimes getting together, and maybe not all of us, but my D&D group might get together and do a paint night. So, and I might just put them out there and let everybody, and buy a bunch of paint and let everybody help me paint them, because it's a lot. That's a lot of painting. That's a lot of painting right there. That's just one tray. That's just one tray of the minis. And this is just the expansion. This is the Dark Horde expansion. These are some of the other ones. This is from the Alliance expansion. See if that one will come in. Come on now. Yeah, my other camera definitely focused better for stuff like this. But anyway, yeah, so we may have to just do a paint night to get all those done. It's going to be it's a lot, but at least the thing I like about it is that they put decent bases on all of them, so we don't have to worry about some of them falling over or anything like that. They've all got good bases to them. Um, like this is the Titan. This is one of the biggest ones. This is probably the biggest. That's the Titan. They've completely ruined my favorite character in WoW, by the way, AJ. Sylvanas. I wouldn't mind if she became morally good, but not like this. Let herself be judged to the new with some bird sent by Tyrande. I haven't been following any of the World of Warcraft lore stuff. I haven't been watching any of the cinematics. I haven't been following any of it. I figured that they would have just killed her off because of what she did to Tedrasil, burning the world tree and all that. I thought there'd be no redeeming her, in any way, shape, or form. So I figured they would just kill her off. But it sounds like they're switching her to good somehow. Colored primer, 3 or 4 different, and some dry brushing would go a long way in 1 or 2 nights painting them with friends. Okay. Yeah, see, I'm not I will take any advice from anybody when it comes to painting, because I am not a I've done a fair share of painting, but I'm by no means adept at it like a lot of people are, So, no, she's alive and the maw is easy to escape from. Yeah, and it doesn't make any sense, type of way, bad writing. So, Mistra, how would you have felt if they would have killed her off to finish off her story arc? Would that have made more sense to you, or would it have bothered you that she was just gone? They killed her off. Would that have, Don Sear or whatever his name is sucks at storytelling. Yeah, I haven't been following it. I am not subscribed to WoW right now. I haven't been, and I said I would not give them my money until dickhead Bobby Kotick is gone. Once Bobby Kotick is gone, then I'll be willing to. But the fact that he's still there completely blows my mind, and it doesn't make me want to give them any of my money. So if they did that, kill her at the end of BFA, that'd be better than this. Yes. See, that's what I expected. So let me make sure I didn't miss anything here. So is it safe to say then, Mister, you're going to be firmly in Final Fantasy 14 for the for the duration now, since they did that? I'm not sure what these represent, but they have these minis are in there too. They have a bunch of different. These are different. I think they're like battle standards. There, that one. Of course, that one went ahead and nicely focused there for a little bit at least. There's 4 different ones of these. So let's see here. Seems to like these, focusing on these better. There you go. I think it's the same on both sides. So anyway, yeah. So yeah, the cool thing about this Dark Tower, by the way, I didn't mention this in the unboxing. It has a solo mode. You can play the game against the tower itself. And a lot of people in the Facebook group are saying that they're having a lot of fun with the solo mode when like they don't have anybody else to play with. They just fire up the tower, start up a game, and play against the tower. And they have a lot of fun with that. So let's see here. Unless a miracle happens and WoW becomes good again, yes. Okay. Yeah, think of it as a really bad version of Illidan's redemption arc. Bastille says, have you heard of Greycast? It's a Greyhawk podcast. I just heard about it myself. I had not. That's good information. I'll have to check into that a little bit. I'm going to go to Twitter right now and see if they have a Twitter feed. Okay, let's see here. There's Greyhawk Online, which I'm already following. Greycast for the win. Let's see here. I wonder if Greyhawk Online's who's putting it, who does it. It might be who does it. Oh, here's Greycast 576. Greycast exploring the world of Greyhawk, one podcast at a time. We talk lore, creator, and streamer interviews, stories, content, all for the Greyhawk community. Follow. There we go. There it is. I just found it. It's great. If you want to go to Twitter, it's Greycast 576 is the account. That's the handle. Yep, that's it. There it is. So, yes, Mad Hermit. I am an old Greyhawk fan since I started playing in the world of Greyhawk over 40 years ago. And then Forgotten Realms came out later, and it was either when I was in the Army, or maybe I think it was while I was in the Army. Forgotten Realms came out. Maybe it was just before I went. Regardless, I had already been playing Greyhawk for a while, and so I just enjoyed the world, that I had been gaming in all this time. Now, having said that, I had a buddy of mine named Finn, who he was the DM for our Forgotten Realms campaign. I DM'd the Greyhawk stuff whenever we would do my campaign, and then and then we would rotate, because you get DM burnout sometimes, and then he would do the Forgotten Realms campaign for a while. So he was always the Forgotten Realms guy. I was always the Greyhawk guy. But of course, I did all the Forgotten Realms computer PC content for Forgotten Realms. Neverwinter Nights 2, and then of course the Gold Box series and all that stuff. Here's a link where you can download MP3s. That's how I listen to podcasts since I don't have a smartphone. I missed Eddie Green. I had a great time at GaryCon last weekend. Got to play Hyperborea. It was a fantastic game. Has anyone tried Astonishing Swordsman and Sorcerers of Hyboria? I had not. I have not. But if I had been there, I would have partook for sure. I'm hoping maybe next year to be able to go to GaryCon again. If everything lines up, I might. I didn't think I'd ever go back, but if COVID is hopefully we put it in the rearview mirror, I might actually go back again. So, Mistress says, for me, it's Forgotten Realms, especially Baldur's Gate, Sword Coast, Neverwinter, and Pathfinder. I need to look into Greyhawk more though. Yeah, and so I have read Forgotten Realms novels. I've played in Forgotten Realms in the campaigns. I've done the computer games, so I know Forgotten Realms, but I just have a love for the world of Greyhawk. That's why I have the gigantic four four panel poster map up here on my wall. Um, which, by the way, I'm very close now to doing my next tour of the room video. I got a couple more things I want to do, but now that my big project's over with, I got this unboxing done with Dark Tower and all that. I got a couple other things I want to do, and then I'm going to do another full video of the tour video of the room. So, yeah, and Forgotten Realms has a lot more content that was made for it, a lot more than Greyhawk did, a lot more published anyway. And so, and what I think what really helped hook everybody into Forgotten Realms was the novels. The novels took off like wildfire. I don't know, there might be 100 Forgotten Realms novels, you know. So, when Drizzt and all that stuff went, everything went bananas. Yeah, see, R.A. Salvatore is exactly because you had Ed Greenwood, who made this amazing game world and all that, and they started doing modules and all this other stuff. And then, of course, the books came out, the original books, what was it, Shadowdale, Tantris, etc. And then, but R.A. Salvatore came on board, and it went apeshit then. So yeah, I have a funny story about R.A. Salvatore. The convention we have up here called Salt Lake Comic Con. It used to be. Now, I don't know how many of you guys know that one day I might tell the whole story of, if you guys don't already know it, why it can't be called Salt Lake Comic Con anymore. They got sued by San Diego Comic Con. They can't use the term Comic Con anymore up here in Salt Lake. The whole huge story behind it. Bottom line is they lost in court, so now it's called FanX, Salt Lake FanX. But anyway, when it was Comic Con up here, by the way, in its heyday before COVID, the largest Comic Con that we had here had over 100,000 attendees. It was fucking huge. It was almost as big as San Diego, and that's why there's the story behind it would take 45 minutes to tell the whole damn story. But regardless, in its heyday, in its biggest year, it had almost 100,000, if not over 100,000 people. And so one year, if you Google and look up Salt Lake Comic Con, and then you look at the attendance and everything, how it went skyrocketed over like the first 4 or 5 years, and then peaked and then started going back down. And you can read the whole story if you want to. But anyway, so I used to get a press pass because I'm a YouTuber, and when it started, it was the very first year. They had no idea how the convention was going to go. From years back, but they had no idea how big it was going to be the first year. They asked all of us, what they call small media at the time, podcasters, YouTubers, Instagram people, influencers, whatever you want to call them, social media people, anybody that's considered small media. They asked all of us. They said, "Hey, get the word out any way you can. Do videos, send out tweets, do podcasts, whatever you can, and mention try and get it on the map." Well, we did all that. We busted our asses there's a podcast called Dungeon Crawlers Radio that Daniel, the guy who runs it, is a friend of mine, and I met him through the convention and all that. They actually did it. They did an episode of Dungeon Crawlers Radio right here at my table. They actually did a remote. We did a whole episode right here at my table at one point. But so Dungeon Crawlers Radio, me, and I was tiny at that time. I'm still tiny, but I mean, I was even tinier. But as far as YouTube goes, I don't shit. I had in the hundreds of at the time, but it didn't matter. They would give you a press pass if you were what they called small media, and they you got, it was just like any other press. You got to go and interview guests when they did the opening event. There was, I interviewed several people, and I've got videos on there if you guys want to see it, and all that, and it was fantastic. Then as it grew and it got really popular, they started saying, oh well, if you don't have this many followers on Twitter, and if you don't have this many followers on Instagram, you can't get a press pass anymore. And so people like me, we dropped off quick. Like, we didn't meet whatever the thresholds were. But then it even got to the point where Dungeon Crawlers Radio had like 50,000 subscribers at the time, or something like that, 50,000 weekly subscribers or something like that. They were one of the main people. There was another one called Stolen Droids. They were the ones that really helped promote it and everything. And then they shut him out and everything. And so it really kind of got kind of shitty there, because all of us that helped promote that thing, basically they were like, oh, we don't need you anymore, you peasants, that type of thing. But during its heyday, we were staying across the street at the Marriott from the convention center, me and my buddy Chris, and he is a photographer. He's not a professional photographer, but he has done some photography work, freelance stuff like that, but he has a regular job and all that, but he's done freelance stuff before. So he would come and be my photographer while I would do interviews and stuff like that. And so you get two people on your press pass, right? You get yourself and a photographer or whatever. And so we were staying over at this Marriott across the street, and right up here in Salt Lake. Rather than come home, we just stayed up there, and because I live probably at least 30 minutes away from Salt Lake, so it was like, well, we'll just stay up there, because that way we'll go out beer drinking or whatever at night and stuff like that. So that's exactly what we did. Convention day, then we would go out and get dinner or whatever, and then we'd go bar hopping and shit like that, because you, believe it or not, in Salt Lake you can go bar hopping. There are bars. People don't think that, but there are. And we ended up at an Irish bar, and some guy there, I don't know who he was or whatever, but we started talking and rapping and all that stuff, and he starts buying us Irish car bombs. I don't know if you guys know what an Irish car bomb is. An Irish car bomb is where they take a pint of Guinness and they take a shot of Irish cream liqueur, Bailey's, and they drop it in. They shot glass and all. They just drop it right into the pint of Guinness. That's called an Irish car bomb. He starts buying these things for us, and we're like, I'll get to that comment, Eddie Green, in just if I missed anything else, I'll get back to that in just a second. So needless to say, we get 2 or 3 of those in us, and we'd already had some beers on before. We're getting shit-faced at this point. So we stumble back to the Marriott, and one of us, either me or Chris, now we've been buddies for, 40 years. So we've done this wherever we go, we end up, if we go out drinking or whatever, if we're in a different city or something like that, we'll say, hey, let's get a nightcap before we go up, let's get a nightcap. And sure enough, they had a bar at the Marriott. So we're like, yeah, let's just go and get one more, So we go in there, and R.A. Salvatore is in the bar. My buddy Chris has read every book that R.A. Salvatore, I have not read every book, but he has read everything R.A. Salvatore has ever published. And Chris is well, we're both shit-faced, but he's really shit-faced. And he's like, we're sitting on stools at the bar, and R.A. Salvatore's over there somewhere at a table or something like that. And he's like leaning over to me, and he thinks he's whispering, but he's like, hey, AJ, you know that's R.A. Salvatore over there, and everybody in the fucking bar can hear him. And of course, R.A. Salvatore looks over and everything, and this guy, and he's like, "Do you think I should go talk to him?" And it was, uh, it was, it was the bartender's fucking falling out. The bartender's cracking up because Chris is acting like he's whispering and he's talking loud as shit. Um, and and I'm like, "Yeah, man, yeah, you need to go talk to him. You definitely need to go over there. I'll get a picture with you and everything like that. And you need to go over there and talk to him, whatever." And he never got the balls up to go over and talk to him. But it was just funny because, like, I think I took pictures with Chris was sitting at the bar, and I angled it so that R.A. Salvatore is in the background, like that. And yeah, it was hilarious because even the bartender was cracking up. But he was other people were going over and talking to him and everything like that. And I don't like to approach people like that. I figure they want to just be left alone, and all that. But if my buddy Chris wanted to go over and make a fool of himself, I wasn't going to stop him, but he didn't. But we went to his panel and stuff like that, and he seemed like a really great guy. I mean, he was like, he seemed like a nice guy. So, but that was one of our Salt Lake Comic-Con stories there. And sadly, since they lost a lawsuit and they're Fan X now, and then COVID killed them too, of course. I don't even know what the attendance is now, but in its heyday, it was fantastic. So let's go back here and see what I missed here. Mr. Ed Greenwood is a unique guy, to say the least, in a good way. I saw a picture of Ed Greenwood with his library at his house, and it looked like a library at like a university. And he has so many books, he had to put plywood over from one bookshelf, so you got the aisle to walk down the middle, and he had to have plywood put across from one bookshelf to the next to put books on top of that plywood. So you're walking under books too. He had so many books, he didn't have room anymore on the bookshelves, so he built plywood going across and had books on top of that. So that was a cool picture. I saw that picture. I still remember that. I was like, that's a library. Mr. says, "Oh, that's right. You made. I believe you made a video on that story. At least it was a big part of one of your videos, older video. Yeah. So I have a whole playlist about Salt Lake Comic-Con. So because I did it for like, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years, something like that in a row. I went and did videos every year. Eddie Green says, "One more thing, AJ. I'm trying out this new brew this evening. It is brewed right here in Chicago called Urban Brew Labs Honey Blonde Ale. It's 5% and delicious." Well, I have, since I tried that honey ale by Rogue Brewing, I have become a big fan of honey ales. So I will take your word for it. I guarantee I'm sure it is delicious. If I ever stumble across it, I will certainly try it. So yeah, that was that was one of our Comic-Con stories. There was a similar story that had nothing to do with Comic-Cons when I was in LA. We were living there. We'd moved to Texas, moved back from Texas before we moved up here to Utah, and they had captured they call it a juvenile or a baby great white shark and they had it at the Monterey Bay Aquarium. And my buddy Chris is a diver. He was a diver at one time. He doesn't have his certification, I don't think, anymore, or he hasn't got it recertified or whatever. But he was, and I'm a huge shark nut. So he was like, "Hey man, they got this juvenile, and they had it all where you could see it. They have a huge tank there at the Monterey Bay Aquarium, and he's like, it might be the only chance we get to see like a great white, even though it's a baby. a baby great white's still big. It's still like 6 feet. You know, um, but just the fact you'd be able to see it, in the tank, up close and everything. He's like, yeah, and they don't know how long they're going to have it, because if it starts having issues where it's not eating, or because that's what normally happens if they're not in the wild, they're going to release it. They don't want it to die. So uh, we that very first weekend we're like, yeah, we'll just drive up to Monterey. We drove up there, and that was when we were running the beerguys.com here. And we went up there and went to the Monterey Bay Aquarium, saw the great white, all that. I even got a T-shirt from there that has the great white on it, the baby great white on it, and everything. And there was a place called the Britannia Arms there, a British pub. And oh boy, we introduced ourselves to the owner there somehow. We just happened to mention that we were with the beerguys.com, and we didn't pay for no drinks the whole night. The owner, we said, well, we're going to do a review on your place. And it was a great place. It's Britannia Arms. It was fantastic. Great pub. And we're like, we're going to do a review on this, and everything like that. And we didn't pay it for anything that night. I don't even think we paid for food. I think he had food brought over and everything else. And so that was another, wild excursion there. Mad Hermit, you said you wonder if a G. I'm not understanding exactly what that question is. I came in a bit late for the stream. Did you hear that Paizo will publish content for 5e? I did not hear that. Hey, Bilbo. Oh, I see you continued it below. If a guy like Salvador has dreams, nightmares of being in the Underdark. So the 5e, the Paizo thing, it doesn't surprise me. It won't surprise me, anybody that's publishing for 5e. They all want to get on the bandwagon to get a piece of that profit pie, So that doesn't surprise me. Again, I'm not currently playing 5th edition, but that doesn't mean that I won't in the future. We've played it here before, so I'll definitely be looking into it to see if it's something I want. Let's see here. So back, if a guy like Salvador has dreams, nightmares of being in the Underdark, that's an interesting question. That's a hell of a question, Mad Hermit. I would have to imagine he would have some. If you immerse yourself that much into whatever it is, whatever creative idea it is that you have. I mean, I've had video games that I was super immersed in, and had, dreams that I was in the game or something to that effect. I've had that before. I don't know if I've ever had nightmares like that, but I've definitely had dreams like that. I would have to assume that at some point or another, yeah. Now maybe I'm wrong, but I would think he would. Eddie Green says that would be a moneymaker for Paizo. Plus, they have some great campaigns, which would be very cool. Yeah, I think it makes sense. Now, as far as them being a competitor, I don't know that they've ever had an adversarial relationship with Wizards of the Coast. I don't remember ever hearing any. I mean, obviously they're competitors, but I don't think they were ever like adversarial competitors. So. Bilbo, do you have a chronic health problems? I do not. Knock on wood. Alethrazin says, I dreamed that I was Pac-Man and woke with a belly. How could you not, right? I don't remember. That's a piece of trivia that I can't answer. What those little things were that Pac-Man ate on in the maze. What those little things were. I mean, obviously we knew it was ghosts that were chasing Pac-Man, but what were those little round things that he ate? What were those called? I have no idea what those were called, if they even had a name. Average Estonian. It's called living imagination, so side effect can be nightmares. Yep. Yeah, I mean, could it just be as simple as just dots? Bilbo, I won't be putting on a mask while I'm doing this, but when I go out and about, I absolutely, if a mask is required, I absolutely put on a mask. So, you may have me confused with somebody else, Bilbo, because I haven't said anything about the Estonian community. So, I'm thinking that you might have me confused with somebody else. So, so back to dots. Could it be something as simple as just dots? I would hope it would be something more, I would hope it would be something a little bit more imaginative, inventive, And then if it's just dots, why is he eating them? It's like power pellets. That's it. I think that's what they were called. I think that's what they were. I'm almost certain. I've heard that before. That makes more sense, that they give him power. Okay, now that's more logical. So now, having established that, let's say that's it. Would power pellets give you a bellyache? You said you had a dream you were Pac-Man and woke with a bellyache. Would power pellets give a bellyache? These are the important questions we must ask ourselves, right? The philosophical debate of the day. What was Pac-Man eating, and would it give him a bellyache? Only here, folks, on the Greyhawk 4x4 live stream will you have such hard-hitting questions and answers. Let's see if I missed anything here. Make sure I'll go back ways up here away. I don't like to miss anybody's questions or anything. So, nope, I think I'm all caught up here. So, did anybody have any other questions? Let's see here. Let's look at some more gaming news stuff here, because there might have been another story. So we talked about E3 being canceled, and thanks to, I think it was Bastille, we talked about Paizo making content for 5e. Let's see if there's any other gaming news out there we should be talking about. Let's see here. So I'm seeing, I don't have a specific story to link it to or anything like that, but I saw something in, somewhere on social media or something that there was a crypto game that was hacked or something. And now I'm seeing a different thing that says game immediately review bombed on Steam after crypto company buys it. What are we seeing here, folks, on the crypto in games and all that gaming? I know there's been a debate about that, but and again, I don't have a specific news story to link to, but I've been seeing things here and there about this topic. And if the game is easily hacked and people in the game are mining cryptocurrency, which can be exchanged for real money, there's some dicey areas there. I mean, you could get into some serious legal shit there, right? Um, it, I mean, it's still theft. Um, and I know Steam doesn't like the idea of crypto games. And it looks like that this game got review bombed just because a crypto company bought it. Um, how do you guys? What do you guys? How do you guys feel about crypto games? I personally don't. I'm distancing. I don't want anything to do with. I'm not a crypto guy. Never have been a crypto guy. I got nothing against people that do cryptocurrency and all that. It just ain't for me. But and that also goes into gaming. I don't have any interest in playing a game where crypto is involved, where that's the reward or you're mining as part of the gameplay. No, I don't. I think it's it's a weird path to go down because there's all these legal things that could come into because it's worth real time money. Can be exchanged. Crypto can be exchanged for dollars, so or whatever currency around the world or whatever. So I just avoid it. So how about you guys? Anybody have an opinion on it or anybody doing that? Or Bastille says Pac-Man was a nickname of mine at work for many mates. Oh, is there a story behind that, Bastille? Was it just because you like to play the game, or crypto and games sound good on paper, but in practice it's really bad and brings a lot of bad actors? So let's do this. So, yeah, I tend to agree with you, Average Estonian. I think that it's I don't think that's a path that gaming needs. Um, if people want to mine crypto and trade crypto outside of the gaming realm, that's their business and everything else. I don't see the need for combining the two. I don't see the need for combining gaming and crypto. I don't. But again, I'm not knowledgeable on the topic, so that's why I was hoping that if some of you had more knowledge about it, you could chime in. Which I'm glad you did because. Okay, it was a play on your last name. Got it. There was a FedEx guy I saw one time delivering packages someplace, and that dude had on his leg, on his calf, he had a Pac-Man tattoo. He had the Pac-Man, and then he had some dots, and he had ghosts chasing the Pac-Man, in color, all around his calf. Um, I was I think that was one of the very first things I ever when I got on Twitter that I ever tweeted out because he let me take a picture, and I tweeted out because I was like, that's some dedication to a video game right there, getting it tatted up. So, um, let's see. I think I'm all caught up here, and we're coming up at an hour. Um, cryptos sounds like a scary way to store money. I got a buddy who is in the cybersecurity. He's one of the top cybersecurity people in the world, and he's big into crypto. And I had a long conversation with him about it, about the whole blockchain thing and how secure it was and all that stuff. And I was really surprised that he was into it. So it leads me to believe that outside of gaming, it may be that it is in fact quite secure. Because if he's doing it, I have to assume it because he's one of the more careful people when it comes to cybersecurity because that's what he does for a living. So that one kind of, I just don't. I'm not a risk taker when it comes to that kind of stuff. So it would, my stomach would be all in knots because if I spend a bunch of money, bought some crypto, I'd be watching it go up and watching it come down and all this other stuff. And yeah, it's just not for me. So, what's up, Harsh? Um, yeah, we're at an hour here, guys. So I'm gonna call it here. I'm gonna go have some dinner with the wife, and unless there's some last minute questions or anything, they were going to call Pac-Man by a different name, Puck-Man. They changed it because they knew the kids would change the P to an F. Yeah, I saw that here recently. That that was the original name for it, but they realized that there was obvious problems. There was obvious problems with the name, and so as far as I know, that is 100% true. So anyway, thanks for everybody that chimed in. Everybody asked questions. Appreciate everybody. Let's see. Today is Thursday. We do not have our campaign tomorrow night. We had to skip a week, so I will be. I'll probably do a video. I'll drop a video. Maybe I'll do the tour. Hopefully, I'll try to do the tour video this weekend. Let's see if we can do that. Because I know you guys have been asking to see more about the a more recent tour video of the room and everything. See all the stuff and all that. So, all right, guys. We will catch you on the flip side.